If you're in your 40s or 50s and you've been struggling to build muscle, or you feel that your metabolism is slowing down, or it's getting harder to get rid of belly fat, you might want to watch this video. I'm going to give you 7 tips that can help you understand what's happening in your body. Slow metabolism, belly fat, love handles, low energy, potentially low testosterone. These are 7 tips. They are very actionable. You can start taking action on them straight away, but they will be super important for you to understand what's happening in your body and how you can fight that. Well, the number one thing you need to understand is you're going to get stronger before you build muscle. What's happening in your body when you start a routine, strength training routine, when you start going to the gym, is the changes are slow. You're going to start feeling probably a little bit more energy. You're going to start feeling a little bit stronger, but building muscle will take longer. This is what we call neurological adaptations. So neurological adaptations, which is the strength gains that you start feeling in your body, happen before the physiological changes, what we call the hypertrophy, which is building muscle. Don't be surprised. Don't be anxious. Don't think that things are not working for you just because you don't see results. First, you're going to see strength. Then you're going to see your muscles growing. But it takes time, because after 40, testosterone levels tend to decline. What it means is that when you have less testosterone, it's going to be a bit harder for you to build muscle. So it might take time. If you start strength training in the gym, if with a solid routine, like 3 or 4 days a week, you might feel stronger, let's say the first 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, but you might just see small results in your body after maybe 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks. It all depends, of course, on what you're doing outside the gym, lifestyle factors, protein, and all these things. Please be patient and understand this thing. Number one is strength always comes before your muscle gains size. Which brings me to point number 2, which is lift smart to avoid injuries. A lot of people are lifting with ego, and then they get injured, and then you need to stop a couple of weeks or months. So for me, my main priority as I'm getting closer to 40s is not to build huge amount of muscle, is longevity. Thank God I'm fortunate enough not to have any serious injury for more than 20 years. And that's what I want for you as well. So understand, like, lift smart, but don't lift with your ego, because your main priority is to be consistent with your workouts. Show up, even if you need to lift a little bit less or a little bit lighter. Lift smart. Lift with your brain. Don't just push weights because you think people are judging you. No one cares about the amount of weight you're lifting. Lift smart. Prioritize compound movements 80% of the time, like squats, split squats, bench presses, pull-ups, rows. These exercises for big muscle groups, and 20% single joint, which is bicep, your triceps, a little bit of calves or side delt. So 80% compound movement. Lift in a smart way. Don't forget as well, do a good warm-up. I've seen a lot of people not doing a warm-up. They go straight to the session. Super important to prime your body. But above all, lift in a smart way, in a controlled way, slow tempo, nice and control, because your main priority, again, is longevity. You don't want to be injured. If you're going to be injured, it's going to mess up with your progress, with your mind. Then if you're going to stop training, then it's probably going to affect your food choices, because you're not going to care about the food. When you start training, you start eating better. Your main priority is longevity in the weight room and safety above all. Which brings me to the third point, which is safety, mobility. So why is it so important, mobility, especially after 40? Is what's going to give you longevity in the weight room. It's important, yes, to build muscle. It's important to walk. It's important to do your cardio. But mobility is what's going to ensure longevity. It's what's going to give you spine health, like prevent sciatica, prevent shoulder injuries, like all of these things. So you don't need to do every single day, but I would say at least once or twice a week, do like a 10 or 15-minute mobility drill to loosen up your body on a recovery day for the gym, to have the proper structure and to prevent injuries. Because again, as you get older, after 40, 50, maybe you're going to start feeling your shoulders tight, your posture is not the best. You start feeling maybe sciatica, all of these things that I just told you. You want to minimize this by doing mobility. And in case you want to do every day, you can do it every day. There is no problem at all. Like, it's not like strength training. You shouldn't do strength training, heavy sessions every single day. Mobility is fine. If you want to do mobility every day, 10 minutes in the morning, wake up, 5 or 10-minute mobility drill, that's perfect. Now, what I'm saying here is the importance of mobility in terms of injury prevention and in terms of your longevity in the weight room. One thing that I like to do is I don't do a specific day just for mobility. I prefer to do mobility before my workout as a warm-up. So that's my advice for you as well. If you don't want to do just one day for mobility, Just do it like 3 or 4 days a week, 5, 10 minutes, 7 minutes before the session. Before you start lifting, do a 5 or 7 minute mobility drill, like some exercises to loosen up your hips, your hip flexors, your lower back, your shoulders. Like, this is super important, not only to warm up your body to prepare you for the session, to again lift smart so that you prevent injuries and to prime your nervous system and your muscles for the session, but also to prevent injuries in the long term. So super important. Don't neglect mobility. And by the way, I'm far from perfect. Sometimes I neglect a bit mobility, sometimes I cut a bit on the warm up, but this is something that as I get older, I feel it's getting harder for my body to warm up. My strength is not the same as it was like 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. So I'm always now prioritizing longevity, mobility, and lifting with quality and with my brain than just to lift super heavy. And don't get me wrong, you still need to lift heavy. You still need to push yourself, but in a smart way when your body is fully prepared. Which brings me to my next point, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Prioritize walking and being outdoors, like getting more sun, less running, more walking. What's the problem with running? And I see a lot of guys over 40, 45, 50, like they're running, they're doing a lot of cardio, beating their joints. Don't get me wrong. If you like it, by all means do it. Maybe once a week. If you're doing that 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you're beating your joints, you're increasing massively your cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone that will increase the accumulation of fat around the belly as well. If you're doing excessive cardio, you're stressing your body. What's going to happen if you're doing a lot of cardio 3-4 days a week, long runs or brutal hit classes, is that you're releasing cortisol. If you're releasing cortisol, which is a stress hormone, you're decreasing your testosterone levels, which will make you skinny fat. It will increase massively your appetite, which will therefore lead you to probably cravings. That's why you want to prioritize walking and not running. When you're walking, you're not having a spike in cortisol. By the way, walking boosts your testosterone levels and decreases your cortisol levels. So that's what you need to understand. Like, walking, it decreases cortisol, increases testosterone. Running is the opposite. And you want lower cortisol and higher testosterone in your body to be lean, build muscle, and burn fat. If you combine walking, low impact, get your steps, you can even do in a fast pace like I'm doing now. So I'm walking in a fast pace. It's getting harder for me to talk, but I keep it like zone 1, zone 2, like 110 to 120 beats per minute. Low impact, this is lowering my cortisol levels, less stress on my body, more conditions for more testosterone as well, allied with vitamin D. It's the perfect combination for production of testosterone to decrease cortisol levels. So this is something that you want to combine. Daily walks, ideally with sunlight, vitamin D, crucial as well. Not enough to take a pill, by the way. If you want to complement with vitamin D with a pill, it's totally fine. And you should, sometimes I do it. I take like 2,000 international units of vitamin D with vitamin K2, but then I don't replace that by the walk. So, because if you take the vitamin D, yes, you might have vitamin D in your body, but it's not going to have the mood benefits, the energy benefits, the anxiety, like all of these things. So you want to get sunlight, get more steps, get more sun, 10, 12,000 steps, low impact, super important for you to understand the role of cortisol and testosterone in your body. So prioritize walking and less running. Which brings me here to point number 5 about nutrition, which is protein every meal. You cannot miss protein every meal. And I see this as well a lot. People eat a lot of carbs and they're not having enough protein. You need to aim for 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal. If you're having 3 meals, you should have at least 50 grams of protein in each meal. Protein is what's going to sustain muscle. Like, you can do strength training, you can sleep, you can lift weights, you can do all of these things. But if you're not having enough protein, you're not going to build muscle. You're not going to see the desired results. So it's crucial that you get enough protein, because especially as you age, you're going to have the tendency to lose muscle. And the only way you're going to fight muscle loss is to increase your protein intake and lift weights. That's the only way. If you're lifting weights and you're not having enough protein, you're not going to build muscle. If you're just eating protein but don't lift weights, you're not going to build muscle. As you want to combine these every meal, 3 meals per day, 40 to 50 grams of protein. Aim for eggs, egg whites, steak, fish, salmon, sea bass, chicken, turkey breast, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. Make sure you're having your protein. You don't need to track your carbs and your fats. That's totally fine if you don't want, but at least I would strongly advise you track your calories and track your protein intake, because as you age, you're going to inevitably lose muscle, and the only way to fight muscle loss is to increase your protein intake. So make sure you have at least 40 to 50 grams per meal. Which brings me to the next point, which is carbs. A lot of people demonize carbs, but there is no problem with the right type of carbs at the right time of the day. Because people associate carbs with a bunch of pasta, bread, cookies, and pastries. Yes, you shouldn't eat this because it's processed garbage that will make you insulin resistant, that will increase the likelihood of metabolic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. But you want the right type of carbs, especially around workout time. So after your workout, good carbs are more than welcome, So for example, you do a strength training session, after eat sweet potato, white rice, even bread. It's totally fine. If it's a nice quality bread, there is no problem with carbs. There is a problem with carbs if you're not walking enough, which is what I want you to understand. If you're not lifting weights, if you're sedentary, you don't need carbs at all. Just get your protein, get your calories, like zero carbs, get some fruits, some vegetables, and that's it. Now, you need to earn your carbs. What it means is that the more you walk, the more you move. So if you're lifting weights consistently 3 or 4 days a week, if you're getting 10, 12, 15,000 steps per day, eat your carbs, like earn your carbs, because actually the right sources of carbs, especially around the workout timing, will ensure that your recovery will be better, your sleep will be better, you're going to be more likely to put on muscle, you're going to be more relaxed. So there is no point in you cutting carbs. Yes, there is a point in cutting carbs if you're not moving, but probably if you're watching this, you're making some kind of effort to be stronger, to be lean, to be healthier, and have a whole longevity. You want to be here in this planet like for a long time, right? For like 10, 15, 20 quality years in your life. And the only way you're going to do this is by focusing on what I just said. So focus on having the right sources of carbs around workout time. The more you move, the more you deserve carbs. The less you move, the less you deserve carbs. Earn your carbs. There's no problem with them. Just eat them strategically. For example, on rest days, you should eat less. On training days, you can eat a little bit more. But you understand what I mean, right? So don't demonize carbs. Carbs are good as long as you are working out, as long as you're moving. Because if you're not eating carbs at all, that will probably be difficult for you to build muscle. So earn your carbs, which brings me to my next point, which is the last one and probably the most important and neglected: sleep. Yes, you want to nail your sleep and make sure that you're sleeping at least 7 to 8 hours. People are training 5, 6, 7 days a week, and then they're sleeping 6 hours per night or 5 hours and sleep deprived. And again, what's the problem with that is that if you're sleep deprived, if you're sleeping less than 7 hours, 6 hours constantly, your cortisol will be higher, testosterone will be lower. You're going to have that less deep sleep, less REM sleep, which are the restorative phases where you actually burn fat and build muscle. So you want to make sure that you're getting your sleep. But if you do what I just told you before, your sleep will improve naturally as well, because if you're walking and if you're getting sunlight and if you're lifting weights, you're basically regulating your circadian rhythm, which will therefore make you more tired and improve your sleep as well. So don't neglect your sleep. If this has been the thing lacking in your routine, which is the sleep, and by the way, I've been speaking with a lot of hundreds of men, and I see that's always the main issue. It's sleep. Maybe they're working out, maybe they're trying to get their protein, but sleep is always the number one thing. So try to fix that. In case you want to understand how to improve your sleep, I have a full video here that I'm going to put right here for you to see about sleep and basically my routine to get my 7 hours and a half, 8 hours quality sleep. So take a look right here. I'm sure you're going to gain some value from it. Now, let's continue this nice walk with a lot of vitamin D, and I'll see you very soon. Ciao, ciao.